It was late at night when I was getting back from a friend's birthday. I live in the city center and there is a huge street full of bars and restaurants leading up to my place. In that street I saw someone who sort of resembled my ex. He had a different hairstyle and now he had a beard, but I was like, is it him? We hadn't seen each other for more than a year, so I was not sure what he looks like now. You know, it was like they show in movies. I was just staring at him because mostly I was just caught off guard. I did not expect to see him all of a sudden in the street like this after so much time has passed. I hadn't thought about him in a month now. I don't really check his social media and I can talk about him, or I might as well not. Before I would avoid topics about him because it would hurt so much, it would be my Achilles heel. And at some point I could finally share about him with everyone. I was like, yeah, you know, now let me tell you why we broke up, because I don't care anymore. I even started wearing the jewelry he gave me. Do you also have that you stuff all his or her presents once you've broken up so far away, somewhere in a hidden place, so you don't stumble upon those presents by accident? I have this tendency, it's definitely me. So I was over him. I started dating again, and this time not to fill a void, but because I wanted to meet someone nice. There was no what ifs in this past relationship. It was all crystal clear to me. I broke it down for myself so well, so thoroughly, that like there were no questions anymore. Being so detailed here, I know, but it's the first relationship that I processed so intentionally, so thoroughly and so consciously, and I reached the full closure there. And I'm proud of myself for doing this. But I had a question for myself. If I processed it so intentionally and thoroughly as I claim, why my heart was pounding so hard that I could not even catch my breath when I saw him? And for you, maybe you did not stumble upon your ex, but you keep thinking about him and reminiscing about your memories together, even though so much time has passed. There is this common thought that's just on your tongue that like comes to mind immediately when someone tells you that they're still thinking about their ex. Are you still in love with them? Does it mean that it's true love and we're just meant to be together and it's just fate, it's just my fate to be with him now? Yes, this is what I ask myself as well, because what else if seeing him hit me so hard? In this video I'd like to share with you what I came up with upon reflection, so let's get to the bottom of this together. I'm a strong advocate that we heal through other people, because other people bring to the surface or show us something that is hidden or is gone unnoticed. Basically they go like, hey, this is who you are, these are your qualities, take a look. So having this in mind, your ex is just a tool, it's just a way to show you that there is a deeper cause, there is a deeper root to your behavior. In this case, this means that your ex causes some childhood trauma to reappear in your life, and the more pain he causes to reappear from this childhood trauma, the more powerful and the more painful this experience is going to be for you. And by experience, I mean the experience with your ex, the communication with your ex. So technically it's called trauma reenactment. And if you've never heard about this term, or you've heard but you remember really vaguely what it is, let me give you a very good and structured example. Imagine a child who's neglected by her dad. Her dad is a workaholic. He would wake up really early and get back home quite late. He would be this, traditional dad, provider. He would bring food to the table, but this whole emotional experience would be lacking. And to make up the storyline further, imagine that this child would start blaming herself for the absence of her dad, that she's just not worthy of love, she's just unlovable, and the reason why her dad is constantly absent is because there is something wrong with her. And then she would start fighting for his love. It feels like love is not given and you need to fight hard to get it. So she would be a very good girl. She would bring good grades from school in the hope that her dad would notice, and her dad would say, "Oh, you're such a good girl, I love you." But He would not do that. He's too busy. Now she's an adult and she just doesn't know how to relate to other adults in any other way other than to prove that she's lovable and try to win someone else's love. So as a child, she could not make her dad love her in the way she needed him to. And now as an adult, she still doesn't know how to relate to other people in a healthy way. The only way she knows how relationships unfold is that she needs to win someone else's love. She needs to work hard in order to prove that she's lovable. So she's subconsciously searching people like that who are emotionally unavailable, who are alcoholics, workaholics, drug addicts, whatever, you name it. They're just not capable of being present and they just don't have the space to love anyone. So this is how trauma reenactment works. You basically have an experience that is really similar to what you had in your childhood. Even if actors and scene are different, the feelings that you have, the emotions that you experience are just the same. That's why you have such intense feelings when you see your ex, because your ex is as emotionally unavailable as your dad was. In this example, right? We're still talking about this example. If you could somehow make him love you, you've healed your childhood trauma and then you won. In this case, it's not really about your ex. It's not about him, because you can have the same sort of experience, the same feeling, the same emotion, and the same thing that you call love around other people who will remind you in one shape or form about your childhood experience. So your ex or those other people are just merely a tool or a way to show you that, hey, your childhood trauma is still there. I'm still here, surprise, surprise, we are inseparable, and I'm just gonna be here for the whole life hanging out with you. Well, it might sound scary and frightening that this friend's childhood trauma is gonna stick around for the rest of your life, but with therapy and self-awareness, it gets easier, it gets less intense. For example, a year ago, I know that if I saw my ex, I would just lose it right there. I would cry, I would not be able to fall asleep, and I would turn my night into a nightmare. This time, yes, I got caught off guard, my breathing became heavy, my heart began racing. I recorded 2 or 3 voice notes to people that I trust and I know that I can fully rely on. But then when I got back home, I took a shower, and as soon as I got off the shower, I read a book and fell asleep. And next morning, I only remembered about this experience because I listened to the voice notes of my friends, and they were asking me like, Tanya, what's up? How are you doing? How did it affect you? What was it like to see your ex again? And I was like, oh, yeah, actually, yeah, I saw him yesterday. Oh yeah, right. I came to accept that because of my trauma, I will always feel a certain way around him and around people who remind me about this trauma. Yes, those people will reenact my trauma, and maybe it will stop at some point. I don't know, I don't have this experience yet, but for now, what happened to me is that the intensity of my reactions and of my responses became lessened, became like decreased just so much. I became more self-aware. I know what's happening. I can explain to myself what's happening and why it's happening. I know that it's not about him here at all. He's just a way or a tool. I said it already a million times, but he's just a tool to show me that my childhood trauma is still there. Hello. And I still need to work on it. That's it. It's not about love. It's not about being together forever. It's not about the deepest and the most unique connection we had. No. It's not that. It's just really my trauma that comes to the surface and makes appearance in my life, or better say, reappearance in my life every time I'm surrounded by the people who remind me of that trauma. I don't need to get back together with him. I don't need to call him. I don't need to text him. I don't need to tell him that I love him, because it's just not true. I just need to continue working on myself and working on healing my childhood trauma. That's it. That's literally it, what I need to do. What can also influence your reactions and emotions when you see your ex, or like how frequently and for how long you are thinking about your ex after you've broken up with him, is how traumatic the breakup was for you. I had different breakups, not particularly proud of it, but that's what I have. That's mine, and yeah, I cannot change it. It's my experience. So I had different breakups. Some of my breakups were fairly painless. I would grieve for a day or two, or maybe for a couple of weeks, and I would just move on. But this breakup was not only about him. My whole life fell down around my ears. This breakup was a turning point for me. I was reassessing my whole life, everything, and everything was just falling apart. I had basically nothing in my life, because everything I so believed in was just not healthy, was just somehow flawed. It did not resonate with me anymore. I was like, it just doesn't feel right. If you're going through something like this right now, I just want to give you a virtual hug. I don't want to tell you that it will pass, because nothing really helps in the moments like this, but I just want to let you know that you can always message me, you can always text me, and I'm here to support you. So this was a very traumatic and devastating experience for me, and it also plays a role. So no wonder when I saw my ex, it hit me, because I associate him with this whole process I've just described. Your response to seeing your ex in real life also depends on your internal weather. If you're just as happy as a clam, you're jubilant, you're radiating positive energy, and it feels like you're just on top of the world, seeing your ex might not hit you at all. You might take his reappearance in your life lightly. But if you're having a bad day, if you are just going back from a date that did not go well, or you had hell of a day at work, or you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, then seeing your ex might really hit you. And for me, I had a fine day, but it was the day when I saw my psychologist, and seeing a psychologist, it's not like a fun party. It always uses up my energy, because I have to talk about quite sensitive subjects that require a lot of energy, a lot of awareness, and a lot of just willpower to be really true to yourself and be willing to face yourself in those moments. So I used up my energy, I depleted my energy, and by the time I saw him, I was deflated. Of course it affected me. Did you also notice this, that when your internal energy is depleted, when you don't have any internal resources, you might think about your ex more often, or thinking about him or her might bring you to tears. Nothing wrong with that. It's only normal. To conclude this video, if seeing your ex triggers certain emotions in you, and if you are still thinking about him or her, even if so much time has passed, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're just head over heels with them and you guys had such a special connection that's like you need to get back together tomorrow. It might be just because of trauma reenactment, certain consequences of the traumatic breakup, or lack of inner resources on the day. Are you still here? Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me that you took time out of your day to watch this video. If you like this video, then please give me a thumbs up, because it really supports my channel. Subscribe to my channel, because I upload videos every single week, and leave a comment down below. I'd really like to know what you think. See you in the next video. Bye!